Hey everyone, Valkyrie for round 2 of the 4 agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Again, I apologize if I am slaughtering that. I'm not good at Spanish. So if you're interested in the book or the other stuff that we're talking about, there is information below on things that you can order the books and or contact my Reiki master, Gail Franceschetti, who actually does 4 agreement workshops. All right, moving on to agreement number 2. If you watch the first video, the first video is be impeccable with your word. Okay, very important, probably the most important of the 4 agreements. Now the second agreement is don't take anything personally. Man, if that was something that we all need to work on, I don't know what. The problem with most of us in the world, and I'm not saying it's a problem, but it's a thing that we all need to work on, is the me mindset. We are all focused on ourselves. We are focused on what we want, when we want it, how we want to be treated, how we want others to treat us. How can we get what we need? How can we get what we desire? What happens when we don't get those things? Me. Can't blame it. It's a survival instinct. At the end of the day, we are born alone, we die alone. In a way, shape, or form. Obviously, we're born with a mother there and people, but you get what I'm saying. No one can walk this journey but us. And there are people that we allow to come along with us on the journey. But again, at the end of the day, the only one that is responsible for how we live our life, how we feel, how we think, how we react is us. So it's an important concept to kind of break into. So the me mindset, or as psychology professionals refer to it, is the ego. Freud broke down the ego in his colorful way. But simply put, the ego is our survivalist mentality. It is our persona. It is the mask that we show the world. Now, I believe it's a Japanese saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, I apologize, but there's a saying that we wear 3 masks in this world. One mask is the way we show other people who we are. The next mask is how we show people that we love who we are. And the final mask is who we show us, that we don't show anyone else. It's the innermost part of us that we don't share with anyone. That innermost part is the lack of ego. It is the most vulnerable side of us that very rarely do we show people. So how do we not take things personally? Because obviously things happen every day, and people push boundaries, and people hurt our feelings, and people don't think about what we want. They think about what they want. The big thing is realizing that how people treat us is not a reflection of who we are. It's a reflection of who they are. Okay? How I react to someone emotionally is a direct correlation to how I am treated. Okay? And again, don't take things personally. How I react is probably going to be a personal response. I had someone recently tell me, no hard feelings, after being told that a relationship wasn't going to work. I'm trying really hard to not take that personally because it's not working, because this person didn't want me for who I was. And it's hard to break through that ego mindset and to try and let it go and be like, hey, you know what? Whatever. I hope they're happy with someone else. Taking the high road, living with compassion. The big thing is that when we feel attacked, or we feel like someone's crossed a boundary, or we feel triggered, we want to react back and be like, you hurt me. What's wrong with that statement, though? You hurt me. Was it that they physically hurt us? or that what they did or said hurt us with intent? Or is it that we let them, what they did, we let what they did to us trigger something within ourselves that hurts emotionally? A lot of times, and if you want to tie back to the boundary video I just did, a lot of times we get hurt because someone oversteps a boundary. Boundaries are put in place because of an emotional scar at some point in our life where we felt a need to protect ourselves. When that scar is triggered, when that memory is triggered, we kind of crawl into ourselves and we take it personally. We have feelings. Everybody does. And it can cause emotional pain because we're correlating how someone just treated us to that emotional scar from our past. And if you haven't worked through your emotional scars, if you haven't been able to recognize them within yourself and try and grow and learn from them, it's just gonna keep happening. All right? The problem is our ego, as great as it is to protect ourselves, and it puts up boundaries, and it helps with our defenses to keep us safe, and it's very much who we present ourselves as. You know, it's our sun sign for the best explanation. It's our charisma, and it's our personality, and it's what makes people come to us or flee from us. But our ego is what causes the suffering, because our ego doesn't know how to step aside and realize, okay, but this is just an issue because how they see us isn't how we see ourselves. And that's okay. That's definitely okay. It's okay to disagree. And we live in a world where a lot of people are afraid to disagree with other people because honestly, our egos won't let us disagree. And that'll be touched on in the other agreements. But the way through this, don't take anything personally, is to just realize that how people respond to you is based on their inner workings, their emotions. And how we respond to others is based on our emotions. We have control over our own emotions. When things hurt us, it's not because people hurt us. It's because we let what happened trigger something within us, injure our ego, and hurt us emotionally. It's a great homework lesson to try and work on. Being able to step outside of oneself, put the ego on the back burner, and say, okay, why was I triggered by this? How can I respond with compassion instead of responding with my ego and a negative emotion? It's worth looking into, right? All right. That's the end of the second agreement. Stay tuned for the third one, and I hope to see you there. Deuces.